We welcome you to another edition of Snap the Pigskin. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Noah Clark, Kedrick Stumbris. We got some great stuff for you this week. The NFC West is wild. A lot of teams still trying to fight for the division crown in the NFC West. Who's going to win it? AFC West, the Denver Broncos. Are they the talk of the town right now? Are they the surprise of the year? Second in the AFC West. We'll talk a little bit about them. The New York Giants falling apart here. Quite a disaster. And then the Green Bay Packers. Are they the team to catch the Eagles and the Lions, the two best teams in the NFC? We also got Bringing Home the Bacon, and we've got our pigskin picks, followed by some Thanksgiving picks as well. Kedrick, happy Feast Week. It's good to hear your voice. How's Feast Week been so far?
Awesome. I was up way too late watching Maui yesterday.
Yes.
Which
UConn.
UConn 2 losses coming out of Maui at least, which is yeah, man. Maui always delivers. Some chatter about Maui's not going to be the same in college athletics moving forward with big travel costs and all that for schools that they might not want to shoulder. If this is the last Maui as we know it, it has absolutely delivered. And yeah, great basketball there. Great basketball in Vegas all day today. Just a banger slate in college basketball the last 2 days. Feast Week is awesome, and it's arguably just as good. Maybe better than like a Saturday at the NCAA tournament. Like it's really good, man. Feast Week is awesome.
Very enjoyable stuff. What I will say for the Maui Invitational, it is sad that we won't get to hear Bill Walton's voice, though. It is very truly sad this year, and that's the one thing that I loved about. That's one of the things I loved about the Maui Invitational was Bill Walton's voice.
I'm not. I plead the fifth.
All right. Let's get to our
not popular Bill Walton takes.
Oh man. Sam loves Bill Walton. He's a big Bill Walton guy.
Yeah, but Sam also owns a bird.
That is true. He does own a bird. So
and not the Thanksgiving kind.
No. And it's a lot tinier. But let's get to our drives of the week. First down, the NFC West. Holy cow, Kedrick. This is an insane NFC West here. Everybody at least is a game behind everybody in the NFC West. The Seahawks, who were sitting at 1 point third, back in first place in the NFC West, but they still have to play the Rams or the Cardinals again. And if the playoffs ended today, the Seahawks would be a 3 seed, and they would be hosting a playoff game at Lumen Field for the first time since, I believe, 2016 or 2014. I'm really curious.
Why didn't you just finish the job of finding out which one of the years it is?
I couldn't remember because I know there was a year they played the Lions in the playoffs, but I couldn't remember if that was 2015 or if that was
last time Seattle.
If that was later
playoff game. I like it. This takes 2 seconds.
I know.
Oh my gosh. When is the last time Seattle Seahawks hosted a playoff game? I guess this takes slightly longer than I thought it was. It was the wild card game of the 2019 season.
Oh, so I was well off.
You were way wrong.
I was way wrong as usual. But the NFC West, I gotta say, holy cow, this is becoming somewhat of a race down to the finish here. We've got we've got 1 month left.
All right, this is enough. These are 6-5 and 5-6 teams. This isn't a race
still
to the
interesting.
Finish. This is a race to the bottom, brother. Like, dude, you cannot be out here hawking for the 6-5 Seahawks and the 6-5 Cardinals.
I mean,
race to the finish. We just saw the 49ers get pantsed on TV.
Yes.
Like, this is not a good division. Race to like, man, I got some jokes about the kind of race that's being done here, and it's not a pretty one, man. Like, it's not good. This is disgusting. The Seahawks are terrible. The 49ers are terrible.
Yeah,
And yeah, they
what
have
happened
10,000
what happened to
people
the
injured.
Seahawks
Like,
being one of the
they're
top
terrible.
teams?
What happened is they're 6-5. What do you mean what happened? They
'Cause
lost
I remember
5
you
games,
saying-
and it's week 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember me saying early in, like, 4 weeks in, like, damn, I don't know, look out for the Seahawks. Like, sure, but then they lost to the New York Giants.
Yeah.
They lost to the Falcons. They lost to the Rams that are also under 500. They got pantsed by 3 touchdowns by the Bills. They got swept by the Niners. That's what happened to the Seahawks.
They didn't get swept by the Niners.
All right, you're right. They won the second.
They split.
Game,
Yeah,
they
split.
My bad.
But it's like still like,
yeah, they beat the nobody is available to play for the Niners by a field goal. Congrats. Act like a real football team, like there is in Green Bay, and beat the brakes off of them next time.
Yeah. I mean, this NFC, it would be. This is the issue that I do have with the playoff system, though, is you're going to award a team that's probably not going to get. That's probably going to at least get 10 wins over the Packers, who are probably going to get 13, 14 wins plus.
We live in a real world where, despite the Packers seemingly putting a dagger in the 49ers season,
we
still might get a divisional playoff or wild card round game where the Packers have to go to Santa Clara and play in Blue Jeans Stadium.
I do not want that. I don't want to have to go back to San Fran. They already exercised the demons. But the thing with San Fran, they might be cooked. San Fran might be cooked. Is the only issue. I mean, like,
they don't look great.
They do not look great. And here's the other thing, and you might. This is the thing that I've hated about the 49ers too. Like, what the heck are we doing with wanting Kyle Shanahan fired? Like, I've heard that this has been in a couple of the media outlets, and a few people have said this, and I've looked over TikTok.
Name one. TikTok wants Kyle Shanahan fired. Man,
focus.
The message boards are ablaze. Oh God, give me an entire break here, my Kit Kat.
And I'm agreeing with you on this, though. I'm agreeing with you. I feel like Niners fans are overreacting a bit to the fact that
you are overreacting to the 0.01% of hyper online Niners fans,
which fair enough. I agree. But I'm like trying to say too, I think 49ers fans need to just kind of dial it back, because they have a coach who's been to like 2 Super Bowls and multiple NFC championship games. And it's like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing in this situation that the coach needs to get fired? Like I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's what I've thought. And then, like, the Rams, underratedly too, like, the Rams got you talk about the Niners getting pantsed.
Okay, I thought you were going to say nice things about the Rams next.
No,
Jesus, I'm talking all over here praising the choruses of the Seattle Seahawks.
No, you talk about the Niners getting pantsed. The Rams, in front of a national audience, got the belt to ass treatment. I mean, It'd
be real embarrassing if somebody picked them on this podcast to beat the Eagles.
That
was you.
Yeah.
That would be you.
That was a bad pick. That'd
be you in the same show that you were hyping up the Eagles as Super Bowl contenders. Like, still don't understand.
They might be. Who knows?
Yeah. So then why the hell did you pick the Rams to beat them?
Because I was like, See, now looking back on it, I was listening to our last episode on the way here because Tegan was playing in the car, and I was like, looking back on it, I just made a dumb pick. That was a dumb pick. The Browns won. However, that was pretty epic.
That was a good snipe.
Pretty epic. But that one, the Rams pick, I would definitely like to look back on and think of how much of an idiot I am. Anyways,
All right, can we stop talking about like the failed tricycle that is the NFC West now?
Yes, I was about to get into our next one, which is the AFC West. We're going to jump from the NFC West to the AFC West. The Denver Broncos. You want to talk?
Okay, go ahead.
You want to talk about a team that
I don't. If you're asking earnestly, no, I don't want to talk about a team.
I mean, you want to talk about a team that's.
I don't. You're gonna have to start that sentence a different way because I don't.
The Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, a team that the last several seasons haven't had, a winning season, haven't had a 10-win season since 2015. That was the last time they had it. 2016 was the last time they had a winning season. The last time they made the playoffs was 2015 as well. And Sean Payton last year, they finished 8-9. They did have a good end of the season, good second half. They didn't make the playoffs. This year, though, 7-5. And Bo Nix,
he's good.
He
looks good. He might be a dude.
He might be a dude. Second in the NFL in passing yards. Jaden Daniels leads with just leads that mark a little bit. But Bo Nix leads the NFL in passing touchdowns with 16.
Okay, the volume stats I'm going to take a little bit of a problem with because Sean Payton does make him throw 10,000 times a game.
It's still impressive what Bo Nix has done.
Yeah, he has to do it, but like the volume stats of it all are maybe questionable given the volume of usage that he is at when you dig in to like where he actually is making a little bit of a difference is like he doesn't look exceptional, right? In adjusted EPA per play, he is still down at 24th in the league in completion percentage over expected. He is not much better in that metric at all. Like they're kind of throwing downfield a little bit. They're weird. I think Bo Nix is a dude. He's at least executing the offense. But it hasn't been an efficient offense. It feels like they're ready to get got. And I understand why Sean Payton is making them throw because they don't have anybody who can run the ball with some kind of
well, they had Javonte Williams.
Yeah, and they can't do.
He used to be, if you took the Javonte Williams from his rookie year, he would have been really good.
Yeah, but man, if the Jets had prime Aaron Rodgers, they'd be Super Bowl contenders. Like, What the hell are we talking about here?
Exactly. But I will say, though, they make this AFC West very interesting because the Chargers lost on Monday Night Football, and they played really close against the Chiefs. I'm just thinking if there was a team that could, cause some chaos in this AFC West, Denver might be the team. Like, we already know the Chargers. Yeah, they're going to be the second team to finish in the AFC West. I think no problem. The way Jim Harbaugh is coaching that team, the way that they're playing offensively, they look like the second best team in that division. But the Broncos could cause some chaos here. And they're not winning they're not winning these games like all worldly where they're blowing out teams. But they're winning games.
They're winning through defense primarily. They're winning. They're a really good defense, and against in a division where the Chargers kind of proved they're still a little offensively challenged, and the Chiefs are not what we've expected of the Chiefs.
Yeah,
that Broncos defense could absolutely cause some problems, and I don't know, weirder things have happened.
Mind you, they were a blocked kick away from pulling off a big upset at Arrowhead. So there's still life for Denver to try and make the playoffs. I think that I'm just saying the AFC West is not over yet. That division race is not over yet. December is probably going to be a very wild month for everybody in the NFL. Like, just throwing it out there. But I do think, man. Bo Nix. I will What are your thoughts on this? Do you think like Bo Nix could win Offensive Rookie of the Year at this point, or do you think Jaden Daniels has that locked up? Or is it Caleb Williams? Is it somebody completely different? I know you.
It's not Caleb Williams. Like, what are you doing here? Yeah, and Geno Smith's an MVP candidate. Come on, man.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm curious what
I'm just curious why you're just in love with like all these teams that are 2-8. My word. I don't know. I don't. Bo Nix, I don't think is. Well, I guess he is going to have the volume stats to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I guess sure. Why not? Sure.
Yeah. That's because now everybody. Because I mean, like the way that these numbers look, it's like okay, he's got good numbers, but then when you watch him play, it's like,
it's going to come down to like nerds and people who actually watch ball compared to people who are voting on the volume stats, because the volume stats will give it to him. But I don't know. I don't know if voters are smart enough to look past the volume stats.
Yeah. And those nerds might be us, but
no, we do not have an Offensive Rookie of the Year vote.
No, we could.
I don't want one.
Why? You don't want?
No.
Okay. Third down. We'll jump away from the Broncos here. Talk about the New York Giants. We're not going to talk about the Jets.
Oh my God. My man, what on earth? The resurgent NFC West. Barely 500 as a division.
I just want to hate on the
Denver Broncos to the New York Giants. Do you want people to watch this show?
Yes, I do.
Because the only reason people are watching this week is like a car crash that you can't look away from. This is horrible. There was nothing better to talk about this week.
Dude, I was literally sitting at work today and I was like, what could we talk about today?
The Dallas Cowboys and Washington Commanders having like the most insane ending. You want to pump numbers for this show, man. That's the way.
That is the way. That game was kind of wild. You know, the funny thing about that is Austin Seibert.
No. You've made your bet. Now lay in it. Tell me about the New York Giants. Tell me.
All right, let's talk about the Giants.
Somehow the most serious football organization in East Rutherford.
Oh my goodness! Besides the Jets, the other team in East Rutherford.
That's more serious. That's a more serious football organization.
They're more serious in terms of being stupid. Like the Jets. Okay, the Jets aren't did you hear how they're going to search for a new GM and a head coach?
You're really getting upset because people decided to use a search firm. Do you get upset every time somebody uses a search firm in college football?
I think it's really
same thing.
I think it's really ridiculous though.
It's the same thing. So you've gotten upset so did you raise a stink about the Badgers getting help from a search firm when they hired Luke Fickell? Everybody uses a search firm. The NFL's just hasn't done it that much before. This is no different.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the Giants here. They've been a disaster to watch, and the future of whether they're going to return to relevancy is still being determined. But it doesn't look good for the Giants. They lost Saquon Barkley, who is looking like he might be the MVP candidate. He might be the Offensive Player of the Year. Xavier McKinney, he's looking like the Defensive Player of the Year. Tied for the league in interceptions. Pretty good stuff there with what he's doing with the Packers. They got these two guys. They let these two guys walk so they could pay the guy that they let go just this past week, who's got 10 teams on his list that he's going to go to, which he probably will not even say that.
You didn't say the name. You didn't say who that was.
Yeah, I'm talking about Daniel Jones. Talking about Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes. And it's been a disaster. Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen might be out the door. The Giants haven't made the postseason since 2016. And
are you sure it wasn't 2019?
or 2022. I have it written here on my notes.
Wait, you actually were wrong?
I actually was wrong, and I wrote it on my notes.
Oh, I was just
I wrote
you.
it on my notes
no,
too.
No.
Kendrick's
What
got
a
me.
disaster.
Kendrick's got me sweating over here.
Oh man,
I'm sweating bullets. But no, the Giants haven't made the postseason since 2022. But here's the interesting thing: they haven't won the NFC East since 2011. And the last time they won the NFC East, they won the Super Bowl. This is a team that I do think one of the more relevant, one of the more historic franchises, and one of the franchises that I think when the Giants, it's the same thing with the Niners. The NFL is better when you see one of these historic franchises be good. Maybe not the Cowboys, but the Giants. I think the Giants are a better New York brand too. The Jets, they're not
such a weird East Coast media thing that people love to say, and I think it's bull crap. It's not true. The NFL isn't better when X team is good because that X team is always just team with a ton of fans. People only say that because the NFL is better because their numbers are being juiced when that team is good.
Yeah,
that's what people mean by it.
But can the Giants be saved though? Like, can they be legitimately saved? As GM, like Kedrick, what would you do to fix the New York Giants?
Would have had them start tanking 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like this is all right. This is where you and I have a philosophical disagreement. Is you can't win a Super Bowl without an MVP caliber quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Or at the very least, it is significantly more difficult to do so. There are very, very, very few teams that have managed to do it over the last 25 years. The Ravens doing it with Joe Flacco comes to mind, although Flacco played like a bona fide MVP in that playoff run. The Denver Broncos did it with the corpse of Peyton Manning. But that was on the back of an all-time crazy defense and
all-worldly
and an unbelievable collapse by the Carolina Panthers in that game. Just quit after the first quarter.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Super Bowls are won by teams with MVP caliber quarterbacks. Giving a deal to a fringe starting guy is the worst move any team in the league can do, because it hamstrings you from the ability to just start over. To now the Giants are just hanging on to all this dead money, and they're obviously going to start moving forward now. But toiling in 9-8, 8-9 obscurity is a death sentence, where you're never getting better. You're never getting bad enough to get a high caliber starting quarterback, because overwhelmingly those guys come from the first round. So the Daniel Jones deal, obviously a disaster, was a disaster when they gave it to him. Plenty of people said it. It obviously looks like less of a disaster now, right? Because as the cap goes up, these big deals don't look as bad as they were when they were initially signed. I've said that before on the show plenty of times. But I still can't believe they gave it to him. They have finally made the right decision to move on. I can't believe they didn't do it last offseason when they were starting Tommy freaking DeVito. I don't have anything new to say on this, because I don't know what new takes there are to have other than the same things people have been saying about this New York Giants team for, 3 years.
Yeah. Well, and what is puzzling about it is, just from a free agent standpoint, you let Saquon Barkley go, you let Xavier McKinney go, which are that's brutal. That's Saquon Barkley is a lot of your offense. He's been a lot of your offense for the last several years. And you lose Xavier McKinney, one of the backbones of your defense, of that secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And you let both of them go. You could have paid Saquon with the franchise tag. They could have, right? Like,
well, so I have some sympathy for the Giants on this one because they made a calculated decision that nobody was going to pay him enough money to eclipse the franchise tag. They calculated wrong. Badly. And I also think it's clear that they made a calculated decision that they didn't think a running back at that age should have gotten another big deal. And I personally have a really hard time crushing front offices for making that calculation when I think the overwhelming numbers say that's the right move. When it happens to be wrong anecdotally, I just like I feel bad for a team. You don't want them to be the one-off wrong team, but like how many we asked on the show, right? Derrick Henry, for an example, right? We asked how much does he actually have left in him? And he's obviously killing it with the Ravens, but that doesn't happen, right? Saquon doing what he's doing with the Eagles doesn't necessarily happen all the time. Aaron Jones, like, looks fine with the Vikings, for an example. But like the Packers went out and paid Josh Jacobs, got younger at the position, and got better at the position. That's not something you do at most spots other than running back. So, like, I don't know. It sucks. And I think the thing that really makes this look really bad is the offseason Hard Knocks thing that they did. So there's all these clips out there and people being able to clip it, and the virality of it makes this look a lot worse for the Giants front office than it otherwise does, right? It's the thing all the time where like, not to get like really gruesome about it, but it's one thing to have a horrible incident described, but it's another thing to have a video of that horrible incident and then something actually happen. For it, like when
it's like it's like the Twitter page, images that proceed before crazy events or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's a video. But no, continue your thought. Like,
no,
I mean, like that.
I'm pretty much good.
I mean,
wasn't it Ray Rice who knocked out his fiance in an elevator?
Yeah.
Right. And we had the story at first and then nothing happened, but then the video got out through TMZ or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the league actually took action. Right. Like that's obviously taking this example to the extreme. And I'm not trying to compare the seriousness of these situations by any means. It's just the first thing that came to my mind in the sense that, like, yeah, the Giants could absolutely be crushed for not paying Saquon, but it's another thing to see them have the phone call with him and tell them they're moving on, and also having the other guy in the room being like, I don't know, I don't think this is the right move, right? Like, just having all of that makes there's an internet virality to it that makes it more real to people than just reading words from sources in an article by Diana Rossini from The Athletic, for example.
Right. And and just seeing John Mara, like the video of John Mara, just like, I don't think I'll be able to sleep if Saquon goes to Philadelphia or goes to the Eagles. And that man.
Fortunately for him, we sleep in May.
Yes. But oh my goodness. And I mean, like, it's tough. But then but the thing is, like, too, you let Saquon and McKinney go, and it's
both of them,
you let
man.
Both of them go, and you pay Drew Lock, a guy who comes in as the backup, doesn't even play as the backup. They put Tommy DeVito in, so Drew Lock hasn't even seen the field. And then you go out in the draft. You don't even draft a quarterback. Don't even try and trade up for a quarterback.
Well, I don't know that we can definitively say that, and I know you and I have had this argument on the show, but we can't definitively say that they didn't try to do it, right? When you include the fact that there are other teams ahead of them that drafted ahead of them, like the Commanders, another team in their division who wanted to draft Daniels at 2. Like what? The Commanders don't have any incentive to trade back to let the Giants come up and go get a potential franchise guy. The Bears weren't trading back. Like I don't know exactly what you're hoping for there.
Well, even just like a Michael Penix too, like a Michael Penix or a Bo Nix would be there for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Michael Penix guy, so like I'm not going to kill them for that. Michael Penix, who's as old as I am, not quite, but like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that we need to rehash that bad. The Xavier McKinney of it all is interesting to me, just because I don't think it's clear whether or not he would have gotten less money in New York. I don't think it's clear that was fully flushed out in his free agency process.
Yeah.
I think he kind of just wanted to go somewhere else based on like my understanding and reading of other people's work on it. But it's brutal that you couldn't get something done with him. And yeah, it's whatever. That team's going to have to be torn down to the studs. And I don't know whether or not Brian Daboll deserves that to happen to him, but ultimately it's going to cost him his job. If not this offseason, I don't know, sometime.
It should. I mean, like, I think they give him, if you're the Giants, you give him one more season. If you got to give him at least a rookie quarterback, or at least give him some sort of quarterback to work with.
Yeah.
That could at least, see what the offense looks like, because they do have good pieces. That's the thing. They do have some decent pieces. Tyrone Tracy, that was a good piece that they drafted. They got Malik Neighbors, another superstar wide receiver. You've got some good pieces on that group. It's just
the problem.
Daniel Jones makes them look bad.
The problem is that they're in pole position for the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, and like this is not a good.
It's not a good draft. No, it's terrible.
I don't want to make the definitive statement that it's not a good draft. It's not a good quarterback draft.
Yeah.
Like Shedeur Sanders or Carson Beck, I guess. And Carson Beck looks
or
bad.
Quinn Ewers too.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers could go pro. But he's like okay. Let me make sure. Yeah, Eileen's not close enough to hear me say that. Not that she even really knows who Quinn Ewers is. Yeah, they're screwed, man. They're just screwed.
They are, and I just I love the New York Giants. I love like these historic franchises. And it's just like, this is one of those franchises that has been a cornerstone of the NFL for so many years. Just to see it fall apart, it's really tough. It's really tough. Now let's get to the positives of it. Let's get to the positive. 4th down, the Green Bay Packers. We'll talk some Packers for you, Kendrick. If that cheers you up a little bit.
After we just spent all this time talking about the NFC West Giants and Broncos. Oh man, beautiful.
No, but I will say, were you happy? Were you happy as I was when the Packers just beat the bricks off the Niners? Because
I was happy that the Greenbrier tip-off got delayed enough to where I watched a lot of this game.
Yes, let's go LSU UCF.
Yeah, yeah. Talking to not to plug my own content too bad. But talking to Nolan Winter today, a one-on-one that you could get over on my other show, Scotty6pack.substack.com. Subscribe there for the exclusive one-on-one. Talking to Nolan today, he was not happy about that being delayed to 3 overtimes. He was very upset about how many times they had to go back and stretch and warm up over and over again. He did not like it. But it meant that we got to watch the Packers uninterrupted for a little bit longer before, I had to do my job. So that was great. Big win. Look, there is no I in team, but there is a me and an I in media. So, and that's what's important. Yeah, the Packers looked really, really good. It wasn't an all around perfect game. There were times where they inexplicably left George Kittle like wide open in the red zone for no reason. but it wasn't entirely on the back of a guy like Quay Walker, for example, who I thought actually had a pretty solid game.
Best game of his career, I think, right there.
Yeah, it could have gone downhill because he dropped a pick early in that game and like, oh, classic Quay, we're gonna clip something out of this. But overall, like he didn't get lost. He still kind of looks like he just sometimes just doesn't totally understand what he's doing to make football plays out there. But I thought he played pretty solid. Romeo Doubs had a solid breakout game for the Packers, considering his kind of slow start to the season. He and Jordan Love really connecting. Jordan Love putting a few balls in places only Romeo was going to be able to go and get it.
And he looks healthy.
I mean, you could say that about either one of them, right?
Yeah.
Which hasn't been a guarantee for either Jordan or Romeo all season. Also guys who look healthy. Christian Watson
dropped the easiest walk-in touchdown,
right? Pass. Which is becoming a problem with the not just Christian Watson of it all, but if we want to talk about problems with the Packers offense,
everybody
drops the ball.
They lead the league in drops.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Which is not good.
Christian Watson, case of the dropsies. Romeo Doubs drop rate is like really, really high. It's like 25% or something crazy. Don't quote me on that. All I know is it's like exceptionally high. 25 obviously sounds like crazy high, but I know that's high. Maybe I'll try to pull this up while I'm pontificating here. But like he's bad. Dontavian Wicks drops have been really bad.
I think the only player who's been really
great. And Jayden Reed has like kind of disappeared compared to the beginning of the year, right? Like, and obviously some of that is the Jordan Love of it all, but
well, and I think too with it, it's like Jordan Love hasn't been fully healthy, which I think is like before the bye week, you could see that he was not comfortable making his throws. You know, a lot of times you saw it, he didn't feel confident about making his throws because he's not setting his feet and driving. The Niners game, he looked really good. I mean, he was confident driving the throw, knowing where to put it. He did make he made some absolutely boneheaded decisions in terms of throwing the ball into some really stupid coverage. Thank God he didn't throw a pick. But like, yeah, I do think that with looking at this Packers team, you look at the NFC. If you take the Vikings, I'm gonna take the Vikings out of this equation. I don't think Minnesota has played necessarily as well as they did at the beginning of the season. I think the Packers could be the third best team in the NFC. I think you look at the games that they played against the Lions and the Eagles, both of those games, they were winnable games, and they shot themselves in the foot. Now, if they get a second chance at those games, they might win them. I mean, they're going to get a second chance at the Lions in Detroit, Thursday Night Football. You look at this team, third in DVOA. They're still in like the top 10 in point differential, which is insane. They have one of the best rushing offenses in the National Football League. They have Josh Jacobs, who's third who is like in the top 5 in rushing yards this year. They have all this talent, and it's been those mistakes. But I truly do think that this team is could be, again, like the Broncos. They're one of those teams that just causes chaos and could cause chaos down December. They are 18-2 in December under Matt LaFleur, which is a really good stat for them to have. And you look at their schedule, not the easiest schedule down the stretch of the season. I mean, if you count the Bears, the Bears might be a cakewalk game. But after that, like, it's a really tough December. And this is where we really see if that 18-2 record's going to stand. But I truly think they could catch the Eagles and the Lions here, because I think those are the two best teams in that NFC.
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to catch the Lions. I'm kind of tired of Packer fans making the like, oh, if they just play better. Well, yeah, if they just played better through this
No.
season so far. Like
Yeah.
they wouldn't we wouldn't be saying that since week 1.
Mhm.
Can they beat the Lions? Sure.
They can.
Yeah, sure. I still think the Lions are the best team in the NFC. I still think the Lions are probably the best team in the league. And I don't think the Eagles should be like shoe-in favorites in a rematch against the Packers. I think they probably would be favorites, particularly the way the Eagles have turned it on the last few weeks.
Mhm.
But there is something that just feels incomplete about this Green Bay Packers team that is just not something I expected from them this year. They are incomplete in ways that I didn't expect. I worried about the secondary, and the cornerback position is absolutely an issue.
Badly.
But I didn't have the worries that I did about their pass rush, which they can't generate.
Which is shocking because they have really good pass rushers.
I mean, that's what we thought.
Which,
If they
yeah,
had really good pass
exactly.
rushers, they would have a good pass rush.
Yeah.
I think the thing we really thought about them when we're banking on is that they had so many bodies in there of potential good pass rushers and potential good disruptive players up front that something would come of it, that eventually, like, you would just be able to put the best guys on the field and it would turn into something. But Rashawn Gary
he has been non-existent.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Lucas Van Ness doesn't look like a first round talent. It's not great out here in these streets. If you're looking for a pass rush, and the wide receivers that we spoke so highly of, not that long ago, have the dropsies. The 25% number I was thinking of before was there was a point in time where Romeo Doubs had a 25% target share in the Packers offense. Obviously not 25% drops. That's insane. But like he and Dontavian Wicks are both dropping like 1 in 10 balls thrown to them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's bad.
That is not good.
No.
Well, again, does that contribute to the fact like they are one of the youngest teams in the league? But I mean, like, but that narrative gets used a lot though, which I don't know. Youngest team in the league, but like that narrative,
Christian Watson's been here a long time.
But but that's the thing too. Watson's been here for what, 3 years, going on 4.
Same with Doubs.
Same with Romeo Doubs, and it's like I don't want to hear the Packers fan base screaming for a first round wide receiver. It's not time to be thinking about that.
No, they have too many other problems. Like they still lack offensive line depth. People are going to be mad because they probably need to draft a defensive player, and I understand all the draft capitals that has been spent on defensive talent, but it just hasn't turned into what they needed to. Unfortunately for them, this is not a good cornerback draft again.
No.
I guess not again. There were some guys to get there last year if they wanted them, but opted to go elsewhere. It's I just don't. I think, and it's weird to say this coming off of a win, but just some of the things that we saw from the Packers in the flashes of incompetence that they did show against the Niners, I think I'm pretty much fine with understanding that this is not a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean that I will not be shattered when they lose a wild card game? Of course it does not mean that. Of course I will be shattered.
Yes.
But let's not confuse rational brain with fan brain, because those are very different on these two subjects.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, but offseason will be very interesting what they will do. I think they're going to be, once again, it's going to be defensive heavy. What's also crazy about it too is like you look at the 2023 draft. That was one of the more shocking drafts in my mind. Not just for the fact that, yeah, they drafted all this skill talent. They drafted Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Luke Musgrave, Lucas Van Ness. It's the fact they didn't draft an offensive lineman. And before that, every year they had at least once at that point in the draft drafted an offensive lineman. And that was the first time in a long time that they had not drafted one. And you saw how much it affected them. And I just, maybe the 2023 draft is still hurting them that they didn't take a lineman in that draft. It doesn't even need to be in round 1. It could be in round freaking 6 or 7 that you could have taken one. But still, now and now this year too, they took Jordan Morgan, which is great, but he's not been healthy for most of the season, which
he's
is
not
brutal.
been healthy, and I don't think he's been quite what they expected him to be.
Yeah,
healthy. I think it's clear that he is not an inside guy that you can kick outside. I think he is just an inside guy.
Which I think is it?
That's
fine?
Yeah, it's fine. But I think they were banking on being a little bit more versatile, considering that not that anybody in the league has it, but the Packers weirdly did have it last year, and now they don't have tackle depth. And yeah,
they should have drafted an O-line. Should have drafted an O-lineman in 2023. Could have kept the streak going. But
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's a long streak too. They went from, even when Ted Thompson was a GM there, it is from his regime to now the Brian Gutekunst regime. They've drafted an offensive lineman every draft. And this was I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And now it's kind of paying off badly for them because now they do not have the depth. They just don't. And they do have a little bit of that cap space, to try and maybe go out. You could sign a tackle in free agency, but the last time they did that was really Billy Turner, which that panned out decently well for them, but he wasn't there for 3 years, even 2021 was his last year, I believe. And so, yeah, just a lot of stuff. Talked a lot about the Packers. Let's jump into bringing home the bacon. And
thank God we buried it after the NFC West, Denver Broncos and New York Giants segment of the show.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Bringing home the bacon. Saquon Barkley went nuclear on Sunday Night Football against the Rams. 26 carries, 255 rushing yards, career high for Saquon Barkley, by the way. 2 touchdowns. He was averaging almost 10 yards a carry. He averaged 9.8 yards per attempt, which, if you're rounding that, it is almost close to 10 yards per carry. But really good stuff from Saquon Barkley. Man, I'm looking at this. I don't know who's going to win the MVP, but his name should be in consideration for that because the season he's having is all worldly. He probably won't get it because it's more of a quarterback award now, but Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah,
pretty dang good.
I think in a year where the quarterback conversation is a little bit muddied. This is the year where a guy like he or Derrick Henry, I think, could jump up and get it.
Last time too, a running back won the award was Kedrick. Do you know, top of your head?
Was it Adrian Peterson?
Yep.
There you go.
Adrian Peterson, 2012, almost broke Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record.
Which is, and the Packers denied him of it.
Yeah. Which is nice. All right. Pigskin picks. We got a lot of pigskin picks here today. We're going to go through all of our picks from Thanksgiving Day and the 2 picks for primetime picks. So we got our Turkey Day picks. But Kedrick, what are the numbers looking like here for the scoreboard?
We had an even week last week.
Ooh.
So you
Thanks to Jameis Winston.
With
Woohoo!
that big win by the Browns.
I am
And
blessed to play in the snow.
yeah, with that big win by the Browns, we actually ended up dead even for this past week. So we are still sitting at the same little averages here of let's see, equals 438 divided by 39. And let me make sure I am not just like making up how math works. Well, about the same. I guess it. Yeah. But yeah, same kind of shenanigans here. Where you are kind of creeping in. Because I had an off week. It let you creep a little bit closer. But I am leading. Still. So I guess I will go first for all 10,000 picks you have for us today.
Well, let's get right into it. Let's get to the first Thanksgiving Day game, the Bears and the Lions. Last year, the Lions lost on Thanksgiving Day to the Green Bay Packers.
That was great. You remember the moon? You remember all that crap about the moon?
Dude,
that rocked. I can't believe I got to write that piece. That was awesome.
The moon.
It was, I mean, the piece
What was it about again? Like, was it just like a full moon?
The Lions just like hadn't won on Thanksgiving Day ever with the
was it because of a blood moon or
no, it was just like the Lions had never won on Thanksgiving Day when the moon was in a waxing gibbous face or something.
Oh,
it was literally that trivial. And one guy found it, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
Packer fans went ballistic when they found that out.
I believed in it immediately. I was like, yeah, this is all I need. And the Packers just beat the heck out of them. Yeah, I'm not sure that I could pick Detroit big enough in this game. After the Bears have lost back to back heartbreakers.
Yes.
I think they're just broken. I don't like, I get guys have reasons to play. It's not quite like college where the quit factor really comes in. But I'm going to take the Lions by 14, and I honestly think that might not be enough.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to go Lions by 20 here. I feel like
going for glory. You got to get back in it, man. You got to get back in it.
I do. And the Lions, I feel like, yeah, they lost the Commanders game in the last second. They lost the Packers game in the last second, and they lost the Vikings game in the last second. I feel like as a Bears fan right now, your life is not good to be a Bears fan. I think they're going to get absolutely waxed on Thanksgiving Day. The Lions have just beat the bricks off of teams, especially at home this year. Give me Lions by 20. Good.
They're so good, man. Like what is bad about the Lions?
That's the thing that I'm trying to find. That's the thing. I'm trying to find a weakness for this Lions team, and there is none.
They had one. It was cornerback, and then they fixed it.
Yeah.
Done.
And now it's like, this is a team. I've said this, the team of destiny this year. If they do not get to the Super Bowl and win, something like this is on them. This is on them.
And Johnson could have had a head coaching job last offseason. Like,
right?
Brutal.
Right.
Which means that they're going to lose in the NFC Championship game to like somebody totally random.
They lose. Hopefully the Packers.
It's the Lions, man. Of course, that's what's going to happen.
It's true. Giants Cowboys. We got a banger here for the quarterback matchup, Kedrick. We got Tommy DeVito versus Cooper Rush.
No, not necessarily. Tommy DeVito is injured. He is not.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Tommy DeVito is injured. So it might be Drew Lock versus Cooper Rush. So the even more interesting stuff. But this game, this is gonna be. This might be fun.
Do you know how old Drew Lock is?
Drew Lock, he's like, I want to say he's 27. He's my age. He's got to be my age.
He's 28. I guess that's not fair. You can harken back to being in like college age around the same time as he was. I am shocked that he's not older because it just feels like we've been talking about the disaster that is Drew Lock for
years.
Yeah. This is gonna be gross. This is a great time to plan
Your naps. Playing your naps.
What is kickoff time in this game?
I think it's 3:30.
3:30 Central Time?
Yeah.
Let's see, what could you be doing instead? You could eat, you could actually spend time with your loved ones. Arkansas, Illinois tips at 3 p.m. So that's what you're doing.
Basketball.
That's what you're doing watching on CBS. You are not watching this. 100%.
Yeah, the man who's on the NFL podcast is endorsing people not to watch an NFL game.
Yeah, I'm trying to protect you.
Which is fair, yes.
So Giants, Cowboys, Cooper Rush, I guess, but Cooper Rush looked good last week. He didn't suck. Mike McCarthy, I guess, all of a sudden decides to start doing his job and not looking too bad when they actually got something going for themselves. I'll take the Cowboys by a full touchdown. I'll take them by 7. If Tommy DeVito is going to play with a broken arm or whatever the hell it is,
sore arm, I think it was.
Yeah, sure. I don't know what that means, or what not Cooper Rush, or what Drew Lock means. I just don't know how the Cowboys, or sorry, the Giants rather, get off the mat for this one. It seems like, based on comments out of the locker room, like Daniel Jones was well liked there, and I just don't know that they're all too happy about the situation there.
He sucks. He is bad.
I'm not saying that they liked him as a football player.
I know, as a person, yeah, he's great, but
that stuff affects the locker room.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna take the Cowboys by 7.
Yeah, give me Cowboys by 5 here in this one. I think Dallas is just gonna. I think they're going to make it close. I think this is going to be one of those games where it's going to be low scoring. I may take a nap during this time. I don't know. I mean, the other thing is Teagan's family cooks is probably still going to be cooking their food at this time too. And they don't probably eat till like 10:30, 9 o'clock at night. So the food might not even be ready. So give me Cowboys by 5. Yeah, I don't know. Their family's on something here. But
you're gonna be ready to take your post meal nap just as Arizona State, New Mexico is tipping off at 10:30 p.m.
Woohoo! But there is going to be a good game to watch. The Dolphins and the Packers. Tua and the boys, they've been talking a little bit of a smack, thinking that they can change the narrative of the cold being the warm weather team that can't win the cold weather. But this game's going to be pretty cold. It's going to be pretty cold at Lambeau. We're getting close to December. Packers looking to get their 9th win of the year, which is that'd be pretty nice. That'd be pretty nice to beat the Dolphins. Kedrick, who you got for this pick here?
This is a good game. Since week 7.
The Joe Barry revenge game, too, might I add, as well. Because he's with the Dolphins.
Neat. 7. The Packers are 7th in EPA per play on offense. The Dolphins are 9th in EPA per play on offense. In the same time, since week 7, the Dolphins are 11th in EPA per play. The Green Bay Packers are 12th in EPA per play. These are two extremely evenly matched teams over this course of the season, when both of them have kind of started hitting their groove, when both of them have had healthy quarterbacks, which makes this, I think, a very fascinating game to look out for in time on Thanksgiving. That's really exciting to me. The Packers, however, do have an X factor coming off the injury report in this game. The Packers have one player who has not yet appeared at a game this season, but will be making his season opening appearance in this one. No, do you know who it is?
Is it Marshawn Lloyd?
No, it is your boy, Kedrick Stumbris, host of the Snap the Pigskin podcast.
Oh, Kedrick, let's go.
And then I got to turn around and go back to Madison for an 11 a.m. kick. So the Badgers play Minnesota and try not to snap a 22-year.
You could have just ended it right there. You could have ended it right there. That's not gonna be fun.
I need something to go my way this weekend.
Yes.
I am banking on the power of that. I am going to take the Packers in this one. I need it. I need it so bad.
I think we all need it.
But I think it's close. I'll take the Packers by 4. I think this comes down to a final possession one way or another. I'm going to take the Packers by 4.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Tua, I think with a healthy Tua.
Marshawn Lloyd, by the way, sorry. Before you go on, Marshawn Lloyd with appendicitis after like all the trying to get back healthy shenanigans. Dude, that's rough, man.
Brutal stuff. He had in the preseason, he had an ankle injury or he had a hamstring injury that kept him out of the preseason. He came back week 2, had an ankle injury, put him on IR. He comes back. He has appendicitis. Like, dude, you can't, like, I feel bad for him because he looks like, watching his college tape, he's so electric. And thank God that Josh Jacobs has been healthy as long as he has been, knock on wood, because if he wasn't healthy, that running back room would look a little bit iffy.
Yeah. I mean, Lloyd can't come back though until week 15 since he was placed on the non-football injury list with appendicitis. So he won't be back until the Packers play the Saints.
Oof, which might be a winnable game. This is a big game for Green Bay. I am curious to see how they'll favor. They've got back-to-back Thursday night games. They've got this game against the Dolphins, then they have to go to Detroit and play the Lions. I need to see Green Bay win this game. They got to win this game. I can't, like you said, Friday is going to be just a horrible day. It's going to be a horrible day. Yeah, they are going to lose. It's going to be a horrible day on Friday. I need to come away with a win before the weekend is over. Give me Packers in this one. Give me Packers by 3. I think Brandon McManus kicks another game-winning field goal, man. I think I think it's going to happen again.
Oh, God.
I think it's going to happen again. So,
I think in my heart of hearts, I think Miami wins this game. I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't even know that I can say that. I don't know. I'm excited to watch this.
Yes.
This will be good. And if you really, really, really need a win, Badgers men's basketball team plays Chicago State on Saturday. So you'll get one there.
Yes.
Otherwise, burn it all down, man.
Yes. Oh my God, Friday. I can't. If you don't want to watch the Badgers, when you're done watching the Badgers football team eventually blow the bowl streak, you can watch the Black Friday game. Raiders and Chiefs. This game is very interesting. The last time the Raiders played the Chiefs at Arrowhead, they pulled off an upset.
State Bowling Green instead.
They pulled off an upset though at Arrowhead, so that was going for them.
Mm-hmm.
Could it happen again on another holiday? Because remember the last time they played on a holiday too. This was also the Raiders also
Christmas
played on
Day last year.
Yeah, it was Christmas Day. They beat them on a holiday. So could we see it happen again here, Kedrick? What we thinking here?
Raiders suck, man. They're bad. There's nothing going for them. That is not an interesting football team. Give me the Chiefs by 2 touchdowns.
Chiefs by 2. Let's go.
By 2 touchdowns.
By 2 touchdowns.
By
so
14.
14. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me Chiefs in this one by 17. I think they're gonna blow the Raiders out here. I mean, look, the Chiefs at some point need to figure out how to win these games by not like making it so like gosh darn close. This has got to be one of those games where they just blow them out of the water. And it's at Arrowhead too, in front of your home crowd. Got to win this game. So that's our Turkey Day games. Now onto our primetime picks here. Our pigskin primetime picks. We're almost done here. 49ers at Bills. This is a fun primetime game. You got to hope that Brock Purdy and Nick Bosa and Trent Williams are back, but or not. But
I'm watching Kansas Duke.
Has Rutgers Notre Dame started yet or no?
I don't think so because Alabama and Houston went into overtime.
Oh, okay. So hey, that's good because we'll hopefully get out of here before that starts. 49ers Bills. This game could really be interesting. Buffalo, I think Buffalo looks good. They look good. And the Niners season right now is hanging on by a thread. Who do you got in this one, Kedrick? I'm hoping you're just choosing the Bills here, just despite the Niners, unless if you think that there's hope
the
for
Niners
San Fran.
Suck, man.
Yeah.
Like they don't suck, but like the Bills are a better football team. Not like maybe the Niners have a better defense. But they really rely on like a real thin core there, including the corpse of Devondre Campbell. It's not great for them, and I don't know. Buffalo is like fine defensively, and I think that's probably good enough against a Niners team that I don't know if they're going to have Brock Purdy or not. So yeah, give me Buffalo. I have no idea by what margin though. That I should pick them. Like because it kind of feels like it could be close.
Yeah.
I say San Fran keeps it close. Give me Buffalo by 3.
There you go. I got Buffalo by 10. I got Buffalo by 10 against San Fran. I mean, like I do get what you're thinking though on this because it looks like the Niners could make this close, but after seeing them last week against the Packers,
they showed some ability though.
They did show some ability.
Still a team that has George Kittle. That's still a team that has Deebo Samuel. Like there are still guys who can go out there and make plays for them and change the game. And that's ultimately what you have to bank on as a Niners fan at this point is that you have enough guys out there. And that's the whole thing about building this version of the Niners is that you've built enough pieces out there that at any point in time, somebody can go out and make a game-changing play.
Right. I mean, but I just, after watching them play the Chiefs and Josh Allen having that big run to close it out, I'm like, dude, if Bills get the ball back with 2 minutes left, they have a chance to close the game out. Give me the Bills. I got Bills by 10.
Sure.
Finally, the last one, the Denver Broncos playing against the Cleveland Browns. This is in Denver. Jameis Winston. Will Jameis Winston pull off back-to-back primetime wins here for the Brownies, or will Bo Nix win his third straight for the Denver Broncos?
Your guess is as good as mine. What is predictable about this game? Jameis looked good against the Steelers, right? Like it's not that was a super pretty game for either team. But for Jameis to do what he did against a really, really good Pittsburgh defense really impressed me.
Yeah.
And that versus a Broncos defense that is also good intrigues me. I actually think this will be a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it comes down to which quarterback can execute a game-winning drive at the end of it all. I think the Broncos have proven it to me more often this season than the Browns have, though. So I'm going to take the Broncos by a touchdown. Oh man, or do I? No, give me the Broncos by 3. Yeah, Broncos by 3. The Jameis Winston thing is fun. I don't know if it's replicable. I have more faith in the Broncos defense than I do in the Browns defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that ultimately gets it done.
Yeah. Give me Broncos. I'm going to copy yours. Broncos by 3 in this. I think Denver, I do think Jameis, I love Jameis Winston. Dude's he's a straight up
Great soundbite.
He's a fun guy. But I do think that this is Denver's game. We saw what Denver did to the Falcons at home. They dismantled Atlanta. I mean, they completely took them to the woodshed. I gotta go Broncos here in this one. I think they've found ways to win. Their defense looks really good. Give me Broncos winning their 3rd straight. I'm gonna have them win by 3 in this game. And so with that wraps it up. That wraps it up. Watch Snap the Pigskin on youtube.com /at Snap the Pigskin, or listen wherever you get podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, etc., etc. And also listen to Kedrick's podcast as well, the Scotty Six Pack. Does some great stuff there. And also, too, from us, from me and Kedrick, have a happy Thanksgiving from Snap the Pigskin. And yeah, go enjoy some turkey. This has been another edition of Snap the Pigskin.